Hello, you fine comic book people, wherever you are. This is Earl Grey. And as you can see by my avatar, which derives from this drawing of mine, a blatant Tim Sale rip-off, you can see that I'm a big Tim Sale fan. And therefore, today I want to talk about one of his best books, The Long Halloween. The Dark Victory, down there. That's the topic for next week. I have this absolute edition of the Long Halloween that comes with this big slipcover, and the book itself is a thick volume, very well done, as all the absolute editions by DC. It's a bit of plastic with a white imprint of Batman on the back, and a very nice muddy printing of a Tim Sale Batman drawing on the front. And if you open it up, you get this very fine impression of Batman, half pencil drawing, half finished drawing. The third man in the boat, besides Jeph Loeb, the writer, and Tim Sale, the artist, is Gregory Wright. He chose always the right colors. As for this blown up panel, a simple complementary contrast between light blue and orange, and the colors always work, and they are important part of the storytelling, I guess, for some panels at least, and so therefore I'm a bit skeptic when it comes to the Long Halloween black and white edition that will come out later this year, 2014. Catwoman. I think it's often the fact that the work of the writer is overrated and the work of the artist is underrated, and this, to my opinion, is especially the case in Long Halloween. Okay, Jeph Loeb wrote the story, and it's quite a common story that could have wrote by Edgar Wallace or some pulp crime writer as well. But it is the art of Tim Sale that makes these books so special, so fantastic, so gorgeous. And he puts, like every comic artist, I think, so many more time in this book than the writer. The writer has just to write down some sentences. Okay, I'm simplify here, but I think you can understand what I mean. So, yeah, I said it, but there are some people that have issues with this book, and I have them too by myself, some issues, some problems, but they are all concerning the writing of Jeph Loeb and not the art of of Tim Sale, which is fantastic, gorgeous. I told it again. I told it before. So, yeah. Many people have problems with the characterization of the protagonists. Catwoman with whiskers and a long tail, and ears. And Batman with this real gigantic, huge cape of his. What should that be? A bed sheet? If you think of it under a functional perspective, it's simply a catastrophe. With such a thing, you can't jump from rooftop to rooftop. But I think it's alright that Tim Sale drew his characters in this fashion, because he always finds very decorative solutions. This cape, for an example, is the reason for some beautiful ornamental panels where this long bed sheet whirls and swirls in very dramatic lines. To contradict myself, there have been better solutions for the Batman cape problem, if I may call it so. For an example, the cape Frank Miller drew him in The Dark Knight Returns, that cape was almost as huge as Tim Sale's, but it had this functional feel to it. We could believe that this thing was an help if you want to glide through the air. Not to mention other solutions out of the Batman history. Here's a Batman drawn by Mazzucchelli out of Year One. More generally speaking, I think if you want to read a more realistic police detective story, The Long Halloween is surely not the first way to go. I think you should try then Frank Miller's Year One or the most excellent Gotham Central. As for The Long Halloween, I think we have to see and accept that we are in a comic booky world here, where some characters can hide behind rubber masks, like Harvey Dent here, while other villains would do the exact opposite of what real villains in the real world would do. They don't hide. They develop some trademark identity of sorts, a brand mark, like the Penguin, the Joker, or the Scarecrow, or so. In short, I think we have to judge Batman books like The Long Halloween by their premise. Yeah, very dramatic bedsheet. The few points where The Long Halloween really has its flaws, it's when Loeb tries to be clever, to be real detective story-ish. So he proposed this baby bottle nipple out of rubber as a cheap silencer for this pistol. I think that's a neat trick and a clever idea, but just if you fire one time and then the rubber is broken. At least I think so. But if you fire the second round and the third round and the fourth round, it makes the same noise as usual. There's no silencer effect on this, or the silencer has to be changed, but that's nowhere to be seen. And the killer always leaves the broken silencer with the pistol, and there's just one silencer. That's one of the logic holes in this book. Don't get me started about the killer, the great mystery around the book, around whom the book is written. That's really, in The Long Halloween it's somehow plausible, in The Dark Victory it's completely nonsense. I think it's funny, and I was surprised who was the murderer here and there, but just in the context of a good comic book story. If I would try to apply the rules of our real life, real world onto this book, I would like this Long Halloween story a lot less than I do. There you have two very iconic pictures of the Joker on two opposite pages. And, oh, speaking of iconic, fantastic. Yeah, as I say, Tim Sale's art, that's what Long Halloween is all about for me. Here the Joker is shanghaiing sort of a corn duster. It looks a bit like these toy paper planes that came with Mickey Mouse books in my youth, where you can glue together the car of Donald Duck or a plane of Uncle Scrooge and so. And yeah, it's complete a comic book character in a comic book plane. So it's a bit ridiculous to say that, like some critics do, that that's not a real corn duster, and these stewardess, or what she should be, has nothing to do with this corn duster. This is right, but comic book world. So I like the way Batman is drawn a lot. I said it before. And I like actually the way Selina / Catwoman is drawn. This Italo look Tim Sale gave her. Not the usual Audrey Hepburn ladylike look, more feline, cat-like look. I don't know. I think this is an interesting take on her outward appearance. Here we have Poison Ivy, and her leaves are a good reason for Tim Sale to develop some decorative patterns all over the panel. Some other, maybe you will call it a logic hole. I think it's so ridiculous, over the top, that no one can take this scene seriously because of the amounts of shootings all over the Riddler, who is not shot in this panel, obviously. And that should have been done all with the same simple pistol. I don't know how many rounds you can fire with it, but certainly not the amount of this here. And as a second guess about this panel here, everybody knows after this that the Riddler was been attacked, but I think the Riddler can, when he's not shot, he can go away, and nobody should have known. Again, Batman with his really long cape, and I think for panels as this one, Tim Sale did the right thing to choose this fashion for Batman. So, a scarecrow in the night. And these panels here are a good example, not alone for Tim Sale's art, but for the work of Gregory Wright as well. You have the atmosphere of a night. Nightmarish atmosphere he creates with his colors. Or speaking of colors, here this panel is really worthwhile because of the colors. And for me, a panel like this one with Catwoman is more than enough to justify any ridiculous tale in the world, because it's iconic, beautiful. Just look at this title page for the chapter with titled Independence Day. I forgot to tell you what the story is all about, because I thought it's so well known that I maybe don't have to. But just for the impossible case that you never have heard of the Long Halloween. There are killings in Gotham, each killing, each murder on a holiday. Each issue / chapter of the Long Halloween is devoted to one holiday. It starts with Halloween and it ends with Halloween, and in between Christmas, Valentine's Day and so on. And on each holiday there's murder, and yes, it's quite a good idea to give every monthly issue a core about whom the story can be developed, and to lay out a red thread throughout the whole story. Another thread that's laid out that combines the story is the relation between Bruce and Selina, and Batman Selina. That's nice too. The whole story plays in the beginnings of Batman. Did I ever complain about the cape of his? Just look at this, and I think he maybe the cape should be longer, bigger. Yeah. Where was I? I don't know. Yeah, it's a story of Harvey Dent, the district attorney, becoming Two-Face. Here we have him, Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. Here, a nice depiction of the Riddler. As a funny, whimsy, small guy here. Batman on the balcony. Very, very, very iconic, don't you think? Batman and Selina and Catwoman again. And here in multicolors, but in all their glamour and splendor, the Rogue Gallery Jeph Loeb uses in the Long Halloween. Let me end this video with this very, 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 very iconic picture of Batman on the top of Gotham on some gargoyles. I'm sure I forgot the half that I wanted to say, but maybe I can mix it in next week when I'll talk about the Dark Victory. So, for now, thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.